Excuse me, miss, but it seems to me unless I'm mistaken that I've met you somewhere before.
Well, I too, sir. It seems to me that I've met you somewhere before.
Was it by any chance at Manchester that I caught a glimpse of you, madam?
Well, that is very possible. I am originally from the city of Manchester, but I do not have a good memory, sir, so I cannot say whether it was there that I caught a glimpse of you or not.
How curious it is. I too am originally from the city of Manchester.
No, well, that is curious.
Isn't it curious? Perhaps, only I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
Oh, well, that is curious. How very bizarre. I too, sir, I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
Madam, I took the 8:30 morning train and arrived at London at 4:45.
Oh, well, that is curious. How very bizarre. What a coincidence. I took that same train, sir. I too.
How curious. Perhaps we saw each other on that train, dear lady.
That is very possible. That is not unlikely. It is plausible, and after all, why not? But I do not recall it, my dear sir.
I traveled second class. Oh, there is no second class in England, but I always travel second class.
Oh, well, that is curious. How very bizarre. What a coincidence. I too, sir. I traveled second class as well.
How curious. Perhaps we met each other in second class, my dear lady.
Well, that is indeed very possible. Not at all unlikely. But I do not remember very well.
I sat in coach number 8's compartment 6, dear lady.
Oh, well, that is curious. How very bizarre, and what a coincidence. I also sat in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear sir.
How curious. Well, perhaps we saw each other on that occasion, dear lady.
Well, that is indeed very possible, and as it seems to me, even very likely. But I do not recall it, my dear sir.
To tell you the truth, I do not remember it either, but it is possible that we caught a glimpse of each other there. And it seems to me even very likely.
Oh, truly. Of course. Truly. Sir.
How curious. I sat in seat number 3 near the window, dear lady.
How curious that is. Good Lord, what a coincidence. I sat in seat number 6, next to the window. Across from you, my dear sir.
How curious! Well then, we sat directly in front of each other. it is there where we must have met.
Well, that is indeed very possible, my dear sir, and as it seems to me, even very likely, but I do not recall it.
To tell you the truth, I don't remember it either. But it is possible that we saw each other on that occasion.
It is true, but I am not at all sure of it.
Were you not the one who asked me to put her suitcase on the luggage rack? And who thanked me and gave me permission to smoke?
But of course that must have been I. How curious it is. How curious it is, and what a coincidence.
How curious it is. Well then, perhaps we saw each other on that occasion.
Well, that is indeed possible, my dear sir, that we have met there, and it is not at all unlikely, but I do not recall it.
Nor do I, madam. Since arriving in London, I have resided in Bromsfield Street, my dear lady.
How curious that is. I also resided in Bromsfield Street, my dear sir.
Well, perhaps we have seen each other in Bromsfield Street, my dear lady.
Well, that is indeed very possible, my dear sir, but I do not recall it.
Well, then, I reside in number 19, my dear lady.
How curious that is. How bizarre. I also reside in number 19, my dear sir.
How curious it is. Well then, perhaps we have seen each other in that house, dear lady.
Well, that is indeed possible, my dear sir, but I do not recall it.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 8, my dear lady.
Curious that is. Good Lord, how bizarre. My flat is also on the 5th floor in apartment number 8, my dear sir.
How curious it is.
Yeah.
How curious it is. How curious it is. What a coincidence. In my room, there is a bed. In that bed, there is a green eiderdown. The room with the bed and the green eiderdown is at the end of the corridor next to the WC and the bookcase.
How curious that is! Good Lord, what a coincidence! My room, there is a bed with a green eiderdown, and my room sits at the end of the corridor between the WC and the bookcase, dear sir.
Curious, bizarre, strange. Then we live in the same room and we sleep in the same bed. Perhaps it is there that we have met.
It is indeed possible that we have met there, and perhaps even last night, but I do not recall it.
I have a little daughter, my little girl. She lives with me, dear lady. She has a red eye and a white eye. She's 2 years old, she's blonde. Her name is Alice. She's very pretty, dear lady.
What a coincidence. I also have a little girl. She is 2 years old. She is blonde. She has one white eye and one red eye. She's very pretty. And her name is Alice too, my dear sir.
How curious it is. What a coincidence. Perhaps they're the same, dear lady.
It is indeed possible, after all. But I do not recall it.
Dear lady, there can be no doubt about it. We have seen each other before. You are my own wife. Elizabeth, I found you again.
Oh, Donald. It's you, darling.
Excuse me.